Well, hello everyone. It looks like we have a good turnout this morning. Thank you all for tuning in. Um, as I mentioned in the email today, I guess we'll go the first webinar. We'll do a series of webinars each day, probably 2 per day, and we'll go over different aspects within kvCORE and and probably eventually get to some social media tactics too, as well as we're kind of quarantined for an indefinite amount of time. Before we get into anything, it should be mindful that there are new rules and regulations regarding contacting leads in a state of an emergency. Just be mindful of those. Some of the stuff we go over today might, just kind of be mindful of some of those rules. I saw something about no cold calling, but I believe emails and texts, as of right now, seem to be okay. Just be mindful of some of that stuff. We'll go over some stuff today, some capabilities that kvCORE has, but just keep in mind that to double check and cross reference some of the newer rules and regulations regarding contacting potential clients in your in this current state of emergency. So I guess we'll hold off for a couple seconds and let a few others join. But I just figured it'd be good to kind of do these a couple times a week or a couple times a day, and just kind of keep everyone focused on any sort of goals that they have regarding kvCORE and social media. And today we're just going to kind of go over. Many of you probably already know these ways and different ways to generate leads, but this is just a good refresher and a good way to help some of our newer agents. We'll kind of walk through some squeeze pages and things like that. So now's the time to, if you've got time at home, to really look into taking advantage of some of these free lead generation tactics. And as always, if this is your first of the webinars you've watched live, or if this is if you're a regular with me, as always, if you have anything that comes up, please drop a question in the chat, and I will answer it as we go along. But anyway, I guess we can dive in. We'll get started. We'll just start looking at some squeeze pages. So the first thing, and I encourage you to follow along, and you can do these with me. Let's just look at squeeze pages. So you go into Lead Engine. You go over to the IDX squeeze pages. Select your domain. You'll see I have access to a bunch of these. That's because I'm the admin, but yours should just show up with your domain. So I'm going to select my domain here. And we'll start off with a multi-property squeeze page. And so before you create your squeeze page, you'll want to think about the area or the properties that you're going to be willing to market or promote. So the way that kvCORE kind of encourages you to use these multi-property squeeze pages is to once a day or a few times a week, just create daily property searches. You could say each day you're gonna put some on Facebook with a different property search criteria. So on Monday, you might say, here are all the waterfront properties in Evans. And then on Tuesday, you're going to say, check out all of the homes in Orchard Park that are close to the golf courses. And then on Wednesday, you'll say, look at all the properties that are closest to the areas for hiking. Different things like that. And it only takes, you'll see here, it only takes a few minutes to create a multi-property squeeze page. And what's good about these links is that they never die. So you can create a multi-property squeeze page for all of the waterfront homes in Buffalo. And as long as you save that link somewhere, you can schedule that post to go out on Facebook every second Monday of every month. And then it'll just automatically update itself, because it automatically will pull new properties or take off existing properties once they're sold from that list, because it pulls directly from the ML. So that's a really good trick and tidbit for creating social media content for your Facebook, because many agents say, well, what do I post on Facebook? Well, it takes a lot of creativity to maintain an active Facebook account. So if you do something like this, that'll help you have consistent content on your Facebook page. It's just one other line of content that you can have out there that the people who like your page can kind of count on. And it's also good for the purpose that it serves in terms of kvCORE lead generation. You get it's one of those pretty powerful free lead generation tools when used consistently and properly. And again, you might put out a squeeze page and you might get no leads from it, but at the same time, you'll probably get clicks on it. People will click on it, they just might not opt in as a lead. And then you're still kind of accomplishing part of your goal, where people are going to click on it, they're going to see that it's just once again reminding all the people who follow you on Facebook that you are this real estate professional. You have access to all these properties to help them look for it, look for a home that they might want. And that's accomplishing your goal on social media on a day-to-day, short-term basis, is to just continue to remind people that you are the real estate professional that they should be going to. So anyway, I will stop just rambling. And I guess let's do this. I've said this in my examples. Let's dive in and create a multi-property squeeze page for the waterfront properties in Edmonds, or the Angola Evans area. And I see we have a lot of new people who have just joined in. Welcome in, everyone. And if you missed kind of my introduction, I'll say if you have any questions, if you've viewed these webinars live before, or if you have any new questions as we go through here, please don't hesitate to drop a question in the Q&A area. You'll find it in your options bar. Drop a question in the Q&A, and then I will answer it as we go along. So anyway, we said Evans waterfront. So you'll, in the area here, you'll type in your area. You just want the whole area, whole Evans area. Now, as you know, or many of you know, you can draw on a map too. Like if you want a very specific area, like you want this to be a little bit broader, you can draw, maybe you don't want it to be completely defined by a single area, or someone might want they might want to market properties that are in Orchard Park, and they might not want to go all the way up to West Seneca, but they'll go cut off here. That's the easiest way to do that, is to draw on the map here, and maybe we'll do that for one of our next our next examples. I'll show you how to do that. So we have our area, Evans, and our listing type. Let's say we just want single family. And then you have the option to put the style in, but I'm going to leave that blank because I want my search to be as broad as possible. I want to get as many properties as possible, so I'm going to leave that blank. And I'm also going to leave the price. I'm going to put a minimum price, because I just want these to be kind of the, as everyone knows, those properties down on the water are a little bit pricier. So I'm going to leave these to be the more desirable homes. So I'm going to leave my price minimum at $125,000 and no maximum. Square footage, I'm going to leave blank as well. Same with the acres, the beds, the baths, the walk scores, and then the options down here is where you'll get specific with. It's got all the ML options here. So this is where I'm going to put my waterfront option. Now over here, this is for your page configuration. These first two options are for your own personal lead tracking. Your source here. If you know that you're going to place this on Facebook, just type in FB, just so that when you do bring in a volume of leads from this page, kvCORE will let you know that this lead came in through Facebook, so that if someone pops into your CRM and you go back and say, well, where did they come from? You'll see they came from this page from Facebook. So that's a good way to kind of look and for long-term track which sources you're having the best success with lead generation. Hashtags, another important thing for your own personal tracking and organization. So you're going to want to hashtag waterfront, and always click on the green area so that it selects it. And then let's also hashtag Evans, because that's our area. Now, if you were doing Hamburg Village properties, you'd want to just do a Hamburg Village tag, and then also probably just a general Hamburg tag. You just want to make these hashtags very specific, and but also not too specific. Like, we don't want to just like combine waterfront and Evans into one, because we want, let's say we get a waterfront property that's down in Dunkirk that we see in the future, and we type into our CRM waterfront. Those waterfront Evans folks will not show up because we combined them into one. You want two different ones. Let's also say we have a property that's not waterfront in Evans, and we want to find all of our Evans contacts in our CRM. That person will not show up if this hashtag is combined into one. So I see some agents kind of combining them into one with different when they do different things like this, and I would just kind of recommend that you just leave those separate. Maybe you can add a third hashtag of Evans waterfront in case you get both of them. But if you ever were to sort your CRM with one of these keywords, you'll always pull up one or the other, because you'll have this lead will be tagged with both of these things. So it's good to kind of keep them broad like this, and also not way too specific, because the whole point of hashtags is to keep the leads uniquely identified to eventually, in the long term, lead you to some further sales. And the only way you'll get that is if you have them identified kind of in a manner in which you'll be able to access them again. Your Facebook cover photo, you're going to want to make sure that you use a listing from our agency, because you don't want to get in any sort of trouble with possibly marketing a listing that is listed with another brokerage. So make sure that you do the second option here, that is use recent listing from your agency. Property views allowed before registration. I'm going to say 2. That's good. That means when we have our list, we're going to get a certain amount of properties, and it's going to, by the time they click on their second property, kvCORE will ask them to sign in, and then that's where they're captured as a lead. So generate link. Now, these links are the exact same. One is just shorter. That's if you want to. That is if you want to post this on a social media channel like Twitter, that requires a character limit for all of your posts. So, but they're the same link. So you can take either one of them, click these little rectangles, and copy it to your clipboard. And then you just go up to a new tab up here and search. Oops. You just want to see if it worked. It did. Sometimes you'll do these multi-property squeeze pages and you won't get much results. So 6 waterfront homes in Evans. It's about what we expected, probably. And they're all obviously very, very nice, very luxurious looking homes. That's probably a little bit of an effect because we set a price minimum. So now what? You say, now what? Now this link you can see is it's tracked with my domain here, and yours will be with yours, of course. Now you're going to want to take this link and you're going to want to put it on your Facebook page. So you're going to want to open Facebook. And you're going to go over here. To your if whether you use a business page or if you use your personal page for business. Me, I like to use my business page for these kinds of examples. So what you do is you're going to take, we already have our link copied here because we put it here, but if you want to do it one more time, you can go back to copy the clipboard up to Facebook, create a post, drop that link in, and then you can take this link. I'm just going to try it one more time because we should be having we should have a preview here for our homes. So I'm just going to try this one more time. Sometimes we need to reload it a couple times, but we want like a preview of the of a couple of the properties to show up, or else people aren't going to be as open to be clicking our post. So we dropped our link in one more time. Wait a second. Let's try the shorter link. Sometimes stuff like this happens where kvCORE and Facebook will communicate. They'll have a little bit of broken communication. And sometimes you just have to play around with it a little bit. So over here, I'm going to try my short link and see if that has a different effect on this post. I guess not. As you can tell now, see things like this happen. You can tell that this is a live webinar, and I guess half of mastering stuff like this is just learning how to problem solve, because nothing ever works the right way, as we all know. So I'm just gonna go back and copy my direct link, and I reloaded my page once more, I believe. I'm gonna try another post. If not, I'll try this in a different way. So it still isn't fetching a preview, but that might be for our own purposes. We'll try this again a little later, but we'd like it to show a couple of the properties here in the I got a couple chats here. Danielle says, can you save a picture of one of our listings and insert it that way? That is, yes, you can do that. You can save, you can upload a photo that you can put the link in the post and then put a photo in. However, the only knock to that is you'd like to not have this big kind of nasty looking link in your post. You'd rather have it just be a clickable photo that links right to the squeeze page. So that's where the preview looks the best. But if this is what you got, I would probably suggest, if that's the path you're going to take, I'd probably suggest using the short link, just because this is not quite all that appealing to someone that might find it in their feed. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to grab my short link. If it's, so this is like, if it's not working for you, where it isn't grabbing the preview. So maybe this will work. It says it's fetching preview. No. So yeah, in this case, you might just want to use the link here, and then throw in a photo. The photo will get rid of this gray area, and then you could just say something like summer is on its way. Check out all of the available properties on the water in Evans. And you can throw in some emojis in there, something like that, to get people to really get excited about it, and then throw a photo in right here. Now, the way that you would schedule this, so let's say you want to post it, send it out, but you want to schedule it out. So you would take this post. I'm just going to exit out of this for now, and not actually post it. But the way you would schedule it is you go up to, if you have a business page that you use, you go up to publishing tools in your Facebook. I'm going to leave this page. I don't actually want to post it. Publishing tools. And then you click create for create new post. And you can drop your post right in there. And then you can click the option that says right here, share now. You can click schedule. And you might want to put this out once a month. So let's go to April. We'll do April 20th for 10:30. You schedule it. It says published, but it's actually just scheduled. And you can go over here and see if it's scheduled over here. Yep, and you can see for April 20th, 2020, it is scheduled. And then you can create another post, schedule post, and you can do this for May. Do May 18th for 10:32 a.m. If you want to say, I don't want to do it 10:32, I want to do it at 1 p.m. You just go ahead and do that and change the time. And I can see both these are scheduled. So you can go through and you can go through and you can schedule it out as much as you want. And as I mentioned earlier, that link will not ever just go expired. It won't expire. It will continue to grab new properties and update itself without you having to go in and do anything. So that is very valuable. So that was a multi-property squeeze page. Let's look at the other kinds of squeeze pages. So as I mentioned earlier, before I get out of all this, as I mentioned earlier, you can save your links like we just did and schedule posts out. You can even just bookmark the link as well if you don't want to ever lose it. But once you get out of this page where you've created this squeeze page, there won't be another place to access it once again in kvCORE. So make sure that if you liked your squeeze page, you post it to Facebook or you bookmark it so that you have a place to re-access it again. Otherwise, you'll have to go in and recreate it, which again, probably won't be the end of the world just because we saw how quickly we were able to do that. So if you lose it, it's not the end of the world. You can just recreate it and move on. So I'm going to click on the single property squeeze page. And this is, Danielle says she created a spreadsheet with all of her links to have an easy access. That is a very good tip that even everyone inside real estate suggests. They suggest you keep a spreadsheet of all the links that you use with kvCORE so that you don't ever lose them. It's also a good place to do that with all your other real estate stuff as well. But thank you for that tip, Danielle. That's a very helpful one for some of our newer agents getting into doing this stuff. A single property squeeze page. This is how you would promote just a single listing. And we probably won't go in and do one of these because it is so simple. But what it would be is you'd be creating just a single web page to promote one of your listings. And the only difference between doing this and actually just sharing the direct link on kvCORE that kvCORE gives you with your listings is you get to put your source and your hashtag in with that link, so that when this goes in, when this gets shared and when a link or when a lead clicks on it and opts in, they're automatically tagged. So let's go ahead and do one. They're very simple. But I'm just gonna need to grab a listing. Let's see. Let's try. Try this one. So as I mentioned, those of you who are newer to kvCORE, I mentioned that this direct link. So when you have a listing in kvCORE, I'm sorry, when you have a listing and you can access it in kvCORE, kvCORE gives you all these options to promote your listing, which we'll probably get to in a future webinar this week. But this direct link is just a link that goes right to, it's just a web page for your listing. So if I click on it here, this one won't be full because it's under contract. But it'll have the photo, it'll have all the ML information here, and you can see it's just it's a link to the listing that is tracked with my information here. And it'll be for yours as well. So the single property squeeze page will look a lot like that, but you just have the freedom and the capability to put the hashtag and the source in here. So for lead source, I'm just going to go with Facebook. And for hashtag, I'm going to go with, this is a Hamburg home, so I'm going to go with Hamburg. Whoops, come on, if I could ever type. There it is, Hamburg. And then I'm also going to go, I'm going to do 34 Brundle, because I will know that this person clicked on that particular home, excuse me. And then if I ever want to send out a any sort of information about that particular listing, I'll want to do so. I can use this hashtag. I can just search all my 34 Brendel people in there, and they will be in that list. Let's say I was doing an open house as well as this, or a property boost, and I wanted all of them tagged 34 Brendel. They all probably came in through a different source. Like this one was just the squeeze page. Those ones were the open houses, and then more over here were from the property boost. They all will be tagged with the same hashtag, and it's a good way to kind of keep everyone organized, and you can contact all of your leads that are interested in this one house all at once. So that way you don't miss anyone. The next thing you put in is going to be the listing ID. So you just grab that right from here. Of course, you all know you can grab it from 100 different places, but it's good to kind of, for me, I like to keep it all under one umbrella. So listing ID, I'm going to change this to immediate property views, because there aren't multiple properties for them to view in order to be grabbed as a lead. So property views allowed before registration, I'm going to say 1. So they look up this property, and then they're going to be asked instantly, not instantly, they're going to look at a couple of photos and then asked to opt in as a lead. So I'm going to generate my link. As you said earlier, same link. I'm going to go with the long one. I'm going to open it up over here in a new tab, and just to see if it works. And so you see that it's the same as the one over here, the direct link, but this one has within its link code the Hamburg hashtag and the Brendel hashtag. So it's a little bit different, but it appears to be exactly the same. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to copy it, I'm going to go into Facebook, and we're going to see if Facebook wants to work this time. If not, you can just throw a photo in, and there it is. So this is what we wanted to show on our squeeze page. We wanted something that looks like this. So I'm going to get rid of this link, because now it's already grabbed the link. So I'm just going to say new listing. Check out this move-in ready home in the village of Hamburg. Call me for more info. Something like that. And you can post it. They click on it. They love it. They opt in as a lead. You have them, and they're tagged with Hamburg Village and then 34 Brendel. Okay, a couple questions. First one from Danielle. With a single page listing, can we utilize this for a new metro listing to create a buyer agency? So are you asking, you're asking if you could do this for another Metro Roberts listing? Like not one that you have for yourself, or it's not you're not the listing agent, you're just doing it for another. Okay. I believe you can do that. They just recommend you you get permission from the listing agent to do that. I'm sure it wouldn't be. I'm sure knowing our agents, it wouldn't be an issue at all. But I think it's just good to keep everyone who's involved in the loop, and I think that's recommended. But also, you would just want to get their approval. Next question from Rich, and he says, do all my Facebook friends see my business page posts? Not necessarily. So early on, you'll have to probably want to share your business page from your personal page, just so that people see that you have a business page. Then they have to like your business page. So they have to, you have to encourage people to like your business page, and then they'll see your posts. But they don't, your Facebook friends you have now don't like, they won't see your business page posts automatically. You'll have to get them to like your page, or someone else that they're friends with will share that post, and then they'll see it. But they have to like your post your page in order to see the post. Now, what you can do is when you're starting a business page, you can invite all of your friends to like your business page so they can see all future posts. But early on, as you're starting to build your business page, you'll probably want to share most, if not all, of your posts from your personal page to your business. From your business page to your personal page, so that all of your friends can see those posts. Okay, let's move on to the seller squeeze page. That'll probably be where we leave off for today, before we jump into our marketing autopilot webinar later this morning. We're going to do a seller squeeze page, and as I mentioned earlier, make sure that you have these links saved if you want to ever refer back to them. But again, if you do lose these links, your single property squeeze, your multi-property squeeze page, they are not too intensive to recreate. So a seller squeeze, again, it's very simple. There's only a few options to put in here. I'm going to put my source as Facebook, and I'm going to do, you got to figure out where you want the area to be. So let's say I'm going to do the Lancaster area. Now, what this page is, before I actually create it, I just want to explain what this is. This is a squeeze page, but it's to grab in seller leads. What this page does, it creates a kind of a home evaluation website in order to. So what it'll say is, if I want to do the Lancaster area, it will say that the web page will say the average home in Lancaster is selling for $180,000. What's your home worth? So that'll entice them to put in their address and then their information, and then they'll get kind of one of kvCORE's market reports about their area. Just so then what you do is you grab from there. You will grab their information, as you'll grab their address and their information, and then you can contact them and ask them if they're interested in listing their house with you. But this is a good way to grab seller leads. One of our agents met with me, and we went over this, and she dropped in one of these links for all these Facebook groups in the area. Now be warned that many Facebook groups do not like any sort of business solicitation, and they're not solicitation, but any sort of business inquiries in these town groups. But if you have a town group, if you come across one that does allow business like this, you just drop a seller squeeze page about that area in each of those groups. And this agent did that. She got tons of new leads, and she even got a couple listings out of it. So all she did was she took the time to do it and to follow up with them. And she got listings from it without having to pay a single dollar for any of these leads. It was really impressive, and it was good to see kvCORE turn out some business that way. Anyway, I'll show you what I mean by all that. So I'm going to go with the Lancaster area. I want the whole area, just the area. And then I'm going to hashtag Lancaster. And I don't need to do a seller hashtag because this lead will already come in as a seller. So it'll go into your kvCORE CRM with the tag of being a seller. So I generate my link. Same link on both of these. I'll just take this one, copy it. I'm just going to get rid of this for now and drop my link in here. Oh, I was way off with my price estimation in my example. Anyway, it says the average price in Lancaster is $326,000. What's your home worth? A little bit about this page. You can see that it is tagged with my information up here. So that way I know that all the leads will be routed to me. It's right on my website. So if I have a blog, you can see all my blog posts and stuff. It's got my information right here on the page. This is a static image. This is just going to be what like one of the pages of their market report is going to look like. But like, of course, these aren't actual Lancaster comps right here. They have to give their information in order to see those. So then what I want to do is I want to take this link. It's already copied, but I'll just copy it one more time. I'll go back into Facebook. Oops, just 1 second. Yeah, wait for my my search bar is for Zoom is blocking my Facebook. Let's get rid of this for now. Refresh my page so that I can put a new post in. And then I'll drop it in here, drop the link in there. Gives you this preview, like what's my home worth. It says the average price in Lancaster is 326. What's yours worth? So you could just say, whoops. What just happened there? Hit a new tab by accident, I'm sorry. So you'll say, thinking of selling, check out what your Lancaster home is worth. Something like that. And same way with all the seller squeeze pages is you can just create these for every area, save them, either schedule them out on Facebook, or you can just have them kind of pocketed to send out to people. But as you saw there, it took about 30 seconds to create a Lancaster seller squeeze page. Do it for all the areas in the area. I'm sorry, do it for all the towns in the area, and then grab a bunch of seller leads that way. So what sometimes happens with some of these seller squeeze pages is someone might put in their address and hit enter, and then it'll say, well, now we need your email, phone number, whatever. Then they back out. They don't want to go all the way through with it. You still will grab their address from that. So you might get a couple leads that are all just addresses. You don't have any names or contact info, but you still have a new lead. From there, I would just recommend doing everything in your power to find out who lives in that house. I know it's a little bit of extra work, but you can look up in the white pages or wherever who lives there if you want to actually continue to follow up with that lead. We, of course, I mean, if someone was at least a little bit interested in clicking on it, they just didn't want to give you their information. That means they're probably interested in selling at least some point down the road. So it might be worth following up that way. But so just a word, you might have a couple of those leads that come in that are only addresses. That's because that's what happens is they put in their address, they hit enter, they get asked to put in more information, and they don't want to do that. You've already grabbed their address from that. So that's just don't be too confused about what's going on when that happens. So that's all I have for these squeeze pages for this first webinar. I appreciate all the people that have tuned in live. Real quick before we end, I'm going to answer a couple questions I see in the Q&A. We have a question from Rich that says, how far back does kvCORE grab MLS data? kvCORE, it's the MLS data will stay in the system, like the property will stay in the system. Are you talking about for the seller squeeze pages? I think it'll grab, I'm not exactly sure how far back it goes specifically, but I do know that sometimes you'll see comps on there from 5 years ago is about average. It tries to stay somewhat relevant with some of those with some of the market reports. They're not perfect. They're like kind of like they're really not, they're not the letter of the law by any means. They're really just a free, quick, here's what you might get. They're definitely not anything to really, it runs the comps in a matter of seconds. So it really isn't, you guys kind of use your own discretion on how seriously you want to take it. It's mostly just for some sort of value for the person clicking on that link. Because as you all know, they can find that same information on Zillow or wherever, but they're doing it here under your umbrella of your kvCORE, and that's what you want to do. So it's probably more similar to what they might get just like on Zillow or something like that. But at least they're doing it. They're showing what the value you're getting from them is you're getting their information and the idea that they might be interested now or somewhere in the near future in listing their house. Now, Danielle says, a tip, look up the addresses on Real Record. That's a great tip. All right, everyone. So we recorded this. I'll send out the recording of this webinar. This is very fun. I appreciate all the people that tuned in live. This is great. I know that we are all in a pretty uneasy situation now, but I guess we're making the most of it. It's time that we can force ourselves to dedicate to sharpening our skills digitally, and we're making the most out of a kind of an uncomfortable situation. So I appreciate everyone tuning in. Hope you'll all tune in at 11 when we go over ways to follow up with leads and to mass communicate with your contacts and keeping your CRM or the importance of keeping your CRM organized. So thank you all for tuning in. I'll be going live in about 15 minutes. But let's all real quick just get a cup of coffee and a glass of water, stay hydrated, and we'll meet back here in 15. Thank you all.